with Little League, that is one of the original factors why they into baseball. Is because the parent, the father, typically at a good time or enjoy the game of baseball. That's why he wants his son to experience it or daughter to experience it. And that's what the factor is Little League. With that said, why doesn't, is there a possibility of partnering, whether it's soccer or Little League, with scouting on a national level? And so that, for example, a scout troop, we need that proposal for Little League International. A scout troop thus could become a Little League or Little League teams from that scout troop. Because it's age-based.
Interesting you bring that up, because the gentleman that we all kind of revere, we follow, one of the things that he says, fisherman doesn't debate the book with things the fisherman does. I think what we're finding, we're trying something along those lines now. We started a program about a year and a half ago called STEM Scouts. And it was developed by two absolutely brilliant researchers, both that worked at Oak Ridge National Laboratories in Knoxville, Tennessee. Both have multiple PhDs, and in fact, Dr. Nichols is actually a medical doctor and an advanced particle physicist. A couple of really, really brilliant people. They also are dedicated scouts. And they were convinced that there were kids that liked STEM activities that weren't attracted necessarily to the outdoors. But maybe there were some ways of doing some STEM activities that could gently introduce the kids to the outdoors to show them that it's fun. But there's X number of kids that just really aren't going to be attracted to the camping aspect, but they like science. And so they started this program called STEM Scouts. I had a chance to work with it over the last year and a half. We picked it up, and Dr. Nichols and Dr. McMillan are now on the staff of the Boy Scouts full time, and we have a true institutional grade research and development group. And STEM Scouts is not really about STEM. What STEM Scouts is about is finding, can we take the aims and methods of scouting and deliver them in a different way. The STEM Scouts was created very carefully to use the lab experiments. We more or less replicate the true structure of the co-ed program. Most educators feel that in the STEM sciences, the boys and girls together is good. It looks a lot like a comeback meeting of the literature. You don't have a scout master, you have a lab literature. And the youth leadership positions are called principal investigators, which is in science terminology, the person in charge of experiments. It has that role. And then they have a co-principal investigator. So all the youth leadership things that we've seen in truth are all replicated in STEM Scouts. When they do those experiments, and these are some pretty heavy things. I saw a group of Cub Scout age kids learning how to sequence the DNA of strawberries. Fascinating. I mean, there weren't a lot of it. But when each one of those programs is built on a thing that's so each meeting, it's going to be something that is trustworthy, but it's probably going to be related back to scientific evidence. Well, what's happened is that the kids that join, that's what they're really into. We took the schools where we started recruiting, and we waited until all Cub Scout recruiting happened, all Boy Scout recruiting happened. The kids that joined STEM Scouts, they were ones that had already said no multiple times to scouting. We got 400 of them in 6 weeks. And none of them quit after a year. Now this program is fantastic. They really get a lot out of it. And if you look at the outcomes, we've got good research that would show the things that they're doing, they are as impactful at developing character as the things that we do in Boy Scouts. So it's a little bit different test, but the idea was, can we have a different program that attracts different kids? We think eventually sports, there's probably a really good tie, but we've thought about it wrong in the past. What we tried to do is find a local soccer club, partner with them, and say, we're going to do soccer and scouting. So we're going to do the soccer program, but we really don't know how to run soccer programs that well. And we tried to sprinkle in some Cub Scouting. It becomes something that's not really one or the other. We take a completely different approach to STEM Scouts. It's all about a full, robust curriculum. It's a true scouting program. This is not an in-school thing. This is a true scouting program. We're now beta testing that with 12 councils, and we expect to probably have 30,000, 40,000 kids at the end of the year. I think that's going to tell us that if we use that exact same methodology, then you can transfer to other things kids might like but specifically target kids that are already saying no to Scout. That's a problem. Yeah, I can go long answers. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so will that type of program still be a part of true scouting? Will STEM scouting be an accepted portion of scouting?
Well, I think so. I think it's, I look at it a lot in its relation to what we've done historically. We've always tried to find kids that weren't interested in the core scouting program and find something that appealed to them. But I think we've done it in a very intentional way, and it hasn't been you'll see some organizations sometimes that allow all of their local affiliates to develop whatever program they want to. So, look, do what's relevant for your community. Just put together all kinds of programs and see if you get throw spaghetti in the refrigerator, whatever sticks, let's just try to grow that. That's usually dangerous because you lose all your brand identity, and it becomes very confusing to you what you're on. If you look at what we've done, we started Sea Scouts for a very specific purpose. We knew that there were kids that were really interested in sailing and learning seamanship skills that weren't attracted to Boy Scouting. And we had, over time, just hundreds of thousands of kids who participated in that. We've done that with venturing, with exploring, and that's kind of what we're doing with STEM Scouts. So I would hope that as long as STEM Scouts has the same outcome goals as Scouting, and as long as the Scout Open Law are a part of it, then I think it would be equal. Personally, if I had an 11-year-old boy, would I want him to join STEM Scouts over Boy Scouting? No. But then that's my perspective, because I know what I got in Boy Scout. Would I rather him be STEM Scout with nothing? Absolutely, because every week we say the Scout Open, the Scout Law, it's part of who he becomes. If you had a Cub Scout, frankly, an 8-year-old, if you see what they do in STEM Scouts, I think what they actually get out of it compared to your average deputy is stronger. So,
Do these STEM Scout participants work towards Eagle Scout, work towards scouting?
no. No, we had a lot of discussion about that. And kids that are attracted, kids that are scientists with a mindset, they don't see the awards are important, but they graduate with some advancement. The way that they get excited about things is different. So we're not trying to replicate the rank, but they have awards that need to, and it's kind of a geeky science thing. They have this lanyard where the thing looks like an iPod, and their awards are electronic. And so they do something in rocketry, and there's a little rocket that shoots off, and they remember it. And so they keep pushing them on levels of words and they grow through. You could look at it and say that's exactly what we're doing to get Eagle. Same thing, it's different, but the same level. So no, they're not going to be Eagle Scouts. They have,
The program work
I think it's philosophy because you would have to change the Eagle rank requirements so much. It'd be hard to adapt to STEM Scouts because you'd either have to water down the Eagle rank, or you would have to massively expand. You'd have to do all the STEM things, but then also have to do all the things needed for Eagle Scout. That's what I'm going to do. That's always a touchy one because as soon as you bring up the Eagle,
Where I'm coming from is the value of the Eagle,
right,
the rank of the Eagle
it's huge.
is later on.
Yep, the venturing was the Eagle Scout Award because of young women, they were in Eagle. Any question?
How do we get more young ladies into veterans? Because there's only 3 of us. Our crew is for 3 right now.
What would you do?
I told my friend about it. She hasn't even about it. Asked me about it. I told her what we do. She's not very interested in it, other than for the training sports.
Well, other than what?
Training sports.
Well, it's interesting because I just met with the venturing leadership, all the youth leadership, a couple of weekends ago, and I asked them that question, and they've really been studying this. And these are some really smart young men and women. And what they found with their study, and where I think we need to is at the entry point, when you decide, I think I'd like to try it out, it has to be very specific in what it is. Chuck and, and everybody that's on his staff, when they're out talking to people about venturing and starting venturing crews, is, unless he's a lot smarter than I was when I was scout executive, he's probably selling it the same way. It can be anything. You can have a crew, and you can do rock climbing, you can do mountain biking, you can do whitewater rafting, anything that you want. You can create this because it's self-directed. That's actually not the right way to do it. What we found is that the crews that are growing, that are doing a really great job, they're extremely specific. Say we've got a program that's going to go for 3 months, and we're going to learn all the basics on rock climbing. Now, once they get in, the crew might decide to do something else, almost a modular approach. So you do rock climbing, and then maybe do whitewater rafting. Some venture crews that are growing, they have an extremely specific focus, and it's all about, it could be backpacking, but that's really all they do. They don't do anything else. I think what that's telling us is that if you're making a decision, if you're a teenager, you're trying to decide, do I want to do this or not, it's hard to envision, well, it could be anything, so you and your friends get together and start trying to think up what you might want. It's too big. It needs to be really specific, that we're going to do this in the next 3 months. That's what they came up with. That's what's kind of interested in what you thought.
Yeah, we're trying to focus on scuba diving during the fall.
But if you went to a high school cafeteria and you were sitting in the booth and you were promoting something, their point was it's easier to promote scuba diving because you bring all this scuba stuff, and then you're not going to get every kid. Some may not be interested in scuba diving, but they can really see it and feel it, and they know this makes sense. So this is something I would like to try to do. I'd like to try to get PADI certification, and this would be fun. Whereas if you just had like some brochures and said, well, you could go scuba diving, we might do that. We might do some mountain biking. They said, well, what are you going to do? Well, we're going to wait till everybody gets together, and then we're going to kind of figure it out. So that doesn't work. So I think that's probably, I think it's a marketing problem. What they were coming up with is a marketing problem, it's not a program problem. I think they're probably right.
There was some time not long ago, there were commercials for Boy Scouts. What happened to that idea?
Mike, it's, look, locally, Dr. Gates talked a lot about this when he became our national president, and he said two things that he hears consistently in critique is your image problem partly is because you don't have a huge amount of national advertising. And he said, I'm going to tell you that most advertising that's effective is local, and local advertising gets more attention. I think the reality is it'd be great if we could do both. You've got to get a huge donor to TV, radio, advertising. Well, the reason we used to get a fair amount is because stations had lots of time that they would give nonprofits, the PSAs, and so we had great videos. Those videos are so easy to do. We've got super high quality stuff. We can't get it played because the only time that it's even going to be played is maybe at 2 a.m. Nobody's going to see it. Paid advertising during the prime spots is just so outrageously expensive. You know, for it. Sure to mind. If you had a donor that came along and felt really passionately about it and said, I'm going to invest $100 million, and with $100 million, that'll get you, X number of hours, probably gets you 3 minutes at the Super Bowl, but the rest of the year, you could probably get a fair bit for $100 million, but it is just a huge investment. Locally, there's been a couple of times, I don't know, Chuck, if you've had this experience, that I've had a donor like that said, I'm going to invest, we're going to do billboards, we're going to pay for spots on TV, we're going to be on the radio, and we put a huge amount of money into advertising, and it didn't really change anything. So,
How do you get parents to buy into the scouting program and be willing to invest the time that it takes to really develop your son to become, really a scout?
I think to get to that spot, you go on a journey. And I think you got to get over what I was mentally picture as the scouting lifestyle bridge. Their kids aren't here. They're here. They've been doing a whole lot of things tonight. They're here in a church pew on a hot summer night. They went over that bridge, and they thought it was so important that it became part of their lifestyle. So they would self-identify as Scott. If you listed your interest, it's not just a hobby. I really think it becomes part of your lifestyle. It says a lot about who you are, but also it says a lot about what you've gone out of it because you feel a need to give back. Nobody's begging you to stay all the time. Different points, I'm sure there's the begging to stay because we really need you right now. But other times you can walk away, but you don't. You don't walk away, you stay. And I think what happens is that people start seeing their kids' lives transform, and then they make the next step. And say, I'm going to stick with it because maybe my son can be an eagle. I might push a little bit. I saw this, my wife and I don't have children, but I've got 3 nephews, all of whom are in Scouts. The oldest is an honors student right now in Alabama. He was captain of the football team, and he's an Eagle Scout. And he actually turned out to be a pretty nice kid, too. And I thought, okay, you got the trifecta. I mean, you got the athlete, he's an honors, he's on a full ride scholarship, academic, and he's an Eagle Scout. But his description of his scouting experience, it was different than my middle nephew's having. And my brother was telling me about this the other day, and he said, here's what's really happened. He said, with Nathan, who was at school, it was hard. I mean, you had to push him and push him. It was like, he was going to be an Eagle Scout, and he was one of those Eagle Scouts that was 17 years and 364 days old. It was, he had more letters for Uncle Mike than Nathan. It was hard. My middle nephew, my brother's description of the program was, he's just getting rank advancement by doing all these fun, exciting things. Just like the adventures he's having is leading to the advancement. Well, I told the Scouts next door, touched on this a little bit, when my oldest nephew was in the troop, they'd gotten down to about 7 or 8 boys. There's like 38 boys now, and they pick up another 1 or 2 every month. So I think that tells us that the activities are keeping the kids and they're interested, but once the parents get in, they start seeing the changes in their kids, so they stay longer. The problem is with millennial parents, they don't have that perspective of time. They're looking at something with a pretty definitive horizon. For them to come to Cub Scouting and say, we'd like you to join this program, and we'd like you to be involved for about, the next 15 years or so. They're thinking like, I was just looking for something fun to do with my kid for like the next 3 months, I'm not thinking of 15 years. I was at a PAC meeting not too long ago, and Barry Molney, Cub Master, had 3 tables this size, and every tool, resource, material possible was laid out there. And there's this young man, he's late 20s, I would say. He's got a first grader, and she's trying to convince him to be a den leader. And she was the over-the-top Cub Scout volunteer. She said, hey, we have this, and we have this, and we have this. Oh, and then there's the training you can go to, and the district runs this, and then you go to roundtable every month, and you have this, and going on and on and on. His eyes are just starting to glaze over a little bit. And no, there's more. And she said, there's internet resources like you wouldn't believe. I'm on the Scouter blog, and I go to Scouts Out, and I get he literally turns and looks at me, and he said, dude, can you just tell me what to do? That phrase says a lot. Dude, tell me what to do. He was looking for specifics. He's willing to make a commitment. He wants to do something fun for his son. But, he's just not looking at this lifetime. She had crossed that scouting bridge. It was part of who she was. She had the lifestyle. She had everything. So she was excited. She wants to make sure he knows that there's all kinds of support from him. He wasn't looking to get involved in something for years. He wasn't looking to become an expert at something new. Somebody was twisting his arm, saying, we need a leader to help with your son. It'll be fun. That tells me he wants it to be easy. He wants to feel successful within a certain period of time. If you survey millennials, you'll find that they want to do something with high social impact. If they have children, they want to do something that's positively engaging for their family and kids. And lastly, they want a definitive time horizon. Tell me what you need, when you need it, and when it's done. And I can be a leader. I could do this for the next, I got to come out for the next 12 weeks and do this program. You can do it with this person, and between the two of you, if you have to share a little bit, you're going to be out of town for work, you can't make it, you're sick, you'll share the responsibility. But the two of you have to be the next 12 weeks in a row. Every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, you come. Okay, I can commit to 12 weeks. Now we've just told the dude what he can do. And if we said, and what you can do is you can go to this website right here, you're going to get this link. As soon as you register, first it's going to be online, it's going to be really easy. You register, and then you get this link, you're now a den leader, and then each week, 1 week out, bang, it's like a teacher's lesson plan. It pops right up, and it tells you, here's the stuff you need for your den meeting, here's how the den meeting works. That's completely opposite of the way that we tend to do things, because we're still managing a program that was developed with a very, very different generation of parents and leaders. We're dealing with the generation that Cub Scouting started in 1930, and then we started adding stuff to it in 1931, and we never stopped. I mean, it's just decade after decade, we have more tools and resources and stuff because we want to be helpful. Well, what this generation wants is they don't want a smorgasbord of 200 things that they have to choose from and pick and pick. Guess what? This is the program for week 2. You pull it out. This is what you do. You go do it. So I think the secret is sequence and timing. I was really pushing that with the board that it's a direction I want to see us go. I think we need to have some entry points for parents that they can come in, we'll get a really good experience, and they're going to be in there for 3 months, and then we'll do the next thing. But those guys didn't have a 40-year time horizon.
40 years.
45.
They didn't have it on their first night. I mean, they really didn't have it on their first night. It grew over time. I think that's what we have to do with today's curriculum. Long answer, short question.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting concept of how you're addressing the parents of today versus Ralph.
Parents of
We
today.
love Ralph.
Let's respect
I asked a couple of members of our board a few months ago, if you were to describe the outcomes of Cub Scouting, is it fair to say that the rank advancement program is the core content? That's our curriculum. And what I mean by that is, if you had a Cub master named Bob, who came to Chuck, a scout executive, and said, look, Chuck, here's the deal. My pack was okay this year, but not great. I think it was okay. We did some popcorn. We didn't go to the Cub Scout camp. I never went to round table. Here's the one thing I'm proud of. Every boy in my pack received a rank advancement. Would Chuck say that he delivered the promise and it was a good pack? He would. We all would. Well, that tells me that if the rank advancement is the criteria, that's our outcomes, we should be able to share with the parents, here's the specific outcomes that occur if your son gets a rank advancement. Well, everything else in Cub Scouting besides rank advancements, that's just all been added on over the years. That's just other stuff we did to make it more fun. So if Chuck felt that that was a good pack and they got the rank advancement, then how many contact hours does it take to get the whole rank? It's about 16. So could you have a Cub Scout program that ran 16 consecutive weeks and at the end of it they get the full page? Well, that's when you kind of throw a hand grenade in the room with scout executives, because they would say, wait a minute, we need him to sell popcorn, we need him to come to game. Oh, you need him to do stuff for you. Well, that's maybe where we have to look at our models and say, is that, maybe there's a way that when you get that rank advancement, then we say, now that your son has earned the full rank advancement, you and your son become their special camp. It's over a weekend and it costs this fee, and now you come camping. It's a whole different way to do final counsel. There's a lot of big questions that I think are mid and long-term strategies for growth, but one of the first ones is fundamental philosophy. Do we think rank advancement is our core character competence? It is in Boy Scouting. Well, in the Cub Scouting, we can measure that. And we've got a group that's, I think we help the student. So you figure out, this is what we want to get, and what's the simplest and easiest way to deliver. That's what the 25 to 30-year-olds are going to be looking for, I think. Cutting that stuff back is hard, because you put a Cub Scout committee together, whoever invented the circus theme, they're going to make sure that circus theme stays in the book, right?
Or Matt.
So, yeah, if you marshmallows on paper plates, we can get all the nervous and jerky. Maybe some of us work. Anything else? Are your children leaving, running away, or are they
If there are any questions that are council specific, I'm happy to help too. You don't, it's not always you get Mike to come visit.
How come camp costs so much?
How come camp costs so much? I can tell you, I can answer that. We have to pay minimum wage in our camps, and here
Sure,
it's
just tell me
$10
that.
an
I had no
hour.
idea.
So the entry level merit badge counselor gets $10 an hour plus minimum entry level person, and that's why it can't cost so much, because we got to pay minimum wage. It's California law. It's not national law. In Oregon, in Nevada, in Utah, the federal law exempts youth camps. So they pay $95 a week for a staffer. Again, a difference between some other state and California. That's why California camps cost a little more.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I had no idea. That's my ignorance of California.
We are experimenting. This current summer at Camp Cole, we have a camp that's $250 a week. We've got 600 folks up there this summer, and there's a paid camp director, a paid program director, a cook, and actually last week's cook was a volunteer. We have a couple of paid kitchen staff. All of our badge counselors come from the units that visit. So, but we have an aquatics director who's a volunteer. The council paid for them to be trained as an aquatics director, and their penance, I don't call it penance, or their gift back to us is volunteering for a week. So if we pay for you to become a shooting sports, a council level, a national camp school certified shooting sports director, aquatics director, climbing director, we pay that, and then you come back and volunteer for a week of camp for a reduced rate. So you save $150 off the fee, and then while you're there, you're part of the staff. So
If you didn't know about that, I'm pretty sure that this is the only place in the country that's happening. I've never heard of that before. I thought it was a fascinating model, and it's a way to address some of those costs because they're huge. So, pretty neat stuff. Well, and other topics? Nobody's even brought up our controversy.
Nobody wants to.
Why?
I thought you presented it kind of uniquely, because you said you're starting a program with girls, girls and boys with the STEM program, with that girl and boy program. And then you have the other gay thing going on, but that was just announced.
I think that's one of the nice things about hopefully you reach a point where you say, let's just get back to serving kids. Let's do scouting. That's what we hell in love. And I think that's where maybe our board can start looking at where we go long term, because we don't really define what youth is. We say that we want to be a program to serve youth, but we don't delineate between boys and girls. Is it a single gender program for girls? That's a hot potato. You want to throw that one out. Or
when is that going to happen? Emergency.
that's why that subject is so difficult for people to talk about, because somebody said, why don't we just merge the two together? Because World Scouting, most of the scouting organizations around the world are co-ed. You could also make a case, and educators go both ways about this, that single gender programs are highly effective. We've positioned STEM Scouts as co-ed because most educators say in STEM sciences, if you're going to have a program like that, it's better to go co-ed. And so far, it really does work well. But is there value in us having a single gender program for girls? Some would say, well, that's a Girl Scouts territory. You can't go there. Well, the Girl Scouts serves 4% of the available population. We don't need to steal Girl Scouts. You got 96%. And that's my question to the board, is if we say that we're in the business of serving youth, well, then are we going to exclude the young women having a program for them? Concern is, but if you do that, that's the first step in bringing together and we'll be co-ed scouting for a few years.
I know several young ladies, my daughter included, who grew up in the Girl Scouts, got rank dancing in the Girl Scouts, and 15 years old, moved over to the venturing program, and would rather be a Boy Scout. So,
I hear that all the time. Yeah, mine too.
I got a daughter that's waiting to be 14,
But I think if you look at, if we had a, and probably have to watch what I say because people think I wrote it down about this one. If you think about the family, we have about 1.6, 1.7 million families in Scotland. How many sisters do the brothers have? I mean, you want to have 1 million kids? You start programming girls. But that's what they have to struggle with. I think they have to see, and I think we need to know what the end game is. Are we going to allow ourselves to go down the pathway to co-ed scouting? There's a lot that would say absolutely not. Don't even think of going there. If you want to do anything, have a single gender program for girls, a single gender program for boys. At a certain age, they can be co-ed, they can't be venturing, or you do co-ed scouting. I think they got to talk about those things. Personally, and this would be a board decision, not a staff decision, but my personal opinion is that I think if we had a day where we create an entry point for families, they come in and we give them maybe the kindergarten age level, a really high quality experience as a family. We introduce ourselves to them. And then we say, if you've got a little girl, here's not a dozen, but here's 3 different programs that you can choose to join that we operate. If you've got a little boy and you want a single gender program, we've got Cub Scouting and maybe one other thing. And then if you'd really like to go at a program, maybe STEM Scouts for you, but provide services for the whole family, because I think that it's going to be more important over the long term for us to get the whole family involved and create that lifestyle component. Because if we don't, I think people are just going to look at us and say, we'll try out Cub Scouts if we like it, great, but if we like soccer more, we sit around the kitchen table and say, you can't do everything. What do you like to do? Johnny says, well, I think I like soccer more than Cub Scouting. Maybe at a board and den meeting that week. The parents, it's almost a sigh of relief when they say, okay, as long as he's positively engaged, it's all equal. We have to stop being equal in our eyes. But I think I don't think we'll make that decision until they have a long-term philosophical agreement.
But isn't that a decision that's going to affect funding? From outside sources? With the society ideas of inclusiveness?
Oh, come on, Girl Scout cookie sales, it's $1.
So much
Oh,
speaking of
Girl
Girl Scout cookie
Scout
sales, back, and I were talking earlier, maybe stealing his topic here is with this new change, where we keep getting new funding returning there, has left us. In the past, for example, was United Way.
I think some of our old friends will come back quickly. I think we'll reacquire some over time. Rex Tillerson, who's the president of ExxonMobil, was with them a couple weeks ago. He's on board, and I hadn't thought about it this way. I was taking the opposite approach. I thought, if I was in my last assignment was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I could think of 50 significant donors who said, because of this policy, we're no longer funding. We've lost, or they just couldn't. I would be right at their door, and they say, okay, I got my hand out, let's talk now. Let's talk about how we get back to you supporting scouting. He had a little different take on it. He said, you actually might want to wait 6 months, see who comes to you. And so because, every company has discretionary funds, and some of those relationships will take time to reacquire because their funding is gone in other places. And the ones that are really interested in starting again, you might have some that just pop out and say, we really want to start funding scouting again. So there'll be a few of those, but I think others that will be, we probably should treat any new donor the same. We should respect their interest in charitable giving. We should find a program that we've got that matches their interest. And I think that's where I start changing my attitude, that probably just going with our hand out saying, okay, we changed the policy, so we want some funding from you. And it gets more, if you're at the point where you feel good about us as an agency, then let's talk about what we have that really will be used. Maybe we'll get some back. And we'll lose a couple. And we'll probably pick up one and lose.
From the point of view of a commissioner, with the change, I see it as a very positive thing. I've been at recruitments where a Cub Scout age boy is interested, is at the table, is looking at kind of derby or whatever, and the parent that's turned the boy away and marched him off because they feel that SCAP is inclusive, they didn't like the policy, and talked to SCAP leaders that are SCAP leaders, but they said that in their professional employment, they don't let people know that they're in Scouts because it's frowned upon, the policies. It's not inclusive. With the popcorn, we sold popcorn with Cub Scouts. People actually yell at the boys. And we're not going to buy popcorn from the she was there. I mean, so I mean, we can do away with that.
Heard that from others,
Positive.
that's sad.
It is.
So certainly when I came to work for the Boy Scouts of America, I never thought I'd work for a controversial organization. It was like baseball, Boy Scouts, and Amplify. But I think the nice thing about this resolution that was put forward, like any compromise, it's not going to satisfy everyone. There's some that feel changing the standard at all is wrong, and you're not going to budge them from that opinion. There's going to be others that say, well, churches could still discriminate, then you haven't gone far enough. So they're not entirely happy with it. But I think in the middle, most people generally, what we've seen with a lot of casual conversation and a lot of surveys, is that most people are pretty comfortable that we're going to allow charter partners to determine what leadership best fits their needs. And if you said, well, if the church we have to force the church to have a gay leader, or we would deny a charter to a church. Well, now you really are getting into some constitutionally protected freedoms that association. Well, you can't tell that church you have to pick someone who does not reflect your values. I think that's personally what I thought was brilliant by those that came up with this overall resolution is that it allowed for an individual charter partner to do something that's always been part of our history. We've, since our founding, said if you've got a church that you will only allow members to join through, you can do that because you can use the SCIME program for your good. So if you said these are our membership criteria in our church, only church members can be in our church. You have the right to do it. As a parent, if you have a church, you don't have to join that. You probably wouldn't anyway because unless you're that religion. I encourage you to do that again. I'm hopeful that the community wants to see this as an extremely positive step, but it's also a respect to the religious leaders of partners that they've had for generations. It's got to be such a tough spot because you have to religions. Do we sing at the end? Is that part of it? You want somebody else to lead that? Yes, sir.
I sit on the Shooting Sports Council for the Boy Scouts here in Golden Empire County. California is a way different animal than any place else in the United States. Is there a possibility that someday somebody will come to California and sit down with us and have a discussion about what we can and can't do here in California?
Who do you need?
How about you?
We need Charlton Heston's, we need.
He's a little dead. We're working on it. Tom Zillick?
Yeah, seriously.
No, really, the issues here in California are a lot different than everywhere else. The transfer of firearms to be a singular item. That pressure could be made from the top to change things at the bottom. Is there somebody who does represent the shooting sports that could come out to the West Coast and have a conference with us?
Could you put that on our notes and let's find out who could. You're thinking one of the volunteers that's on the committee. You're on the committee?
I sit on the committee of the Golden Empire Council.
Okay. And we've got a National Shooting Sports Committee. So
Yes.
somebody from the committee, would that be?
That would be good.
Okay. Pretty easy.
It's easy to spin them here, but it's hard to get them away.
Mr. Here is pretty attractive. We're, quite a lot of people like doing Sacramento. You're looking for advocacy at the national level.
Yes.
I think probably on the shooting sports committee this week is start. And then
I'll move up on here.
I've run out of interesting things to share, you've run out of interesting things to ask. I would like to say thank you for allowing me to be here and to share some thoughts. And again, I would love to come back and actually see Sacramento because all I saw, this is because of the boat and everything. I saw the airport, going and Chuck's car.
Man, you see it. You see it.
It's made up. I'd like to come back sometime. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.